All right. We are at noon Central Time, top of the hour. Welcome, everybody. People are still popping in, so I will approve their, as I see them, I will approve them. But welcome once again to ASC. A couple of quick announcements. So we are into season two. This is actually the official first one of season two. All of you who are part of season one have been grandfathered into the four sessions we have in November. And then just let me know if you haven't already renewed, if you want to renew, if you have any questions on that. If you don't choose to, that's fine too. Totally understand that. But this is officially the first session in season two. Also, you will have noticed we now have the weekly emails. So I know it's been like this communication thing. How do we do this? If you just don't want to get those, let me know. But that's going to be the main source of communication now, rather than having people have to go out to the document and find stuff. I'll just try to put everything in an email once a week, send it out Monday mornings, and hopefully that's everything you need with all the links and all of that. And also the calendars. If you're a part of the ASC, you'll get the calendar invites automatically. That doesn't mean to apply pressure. It's meant for your convenience. So obviously just come to the ones that you can. And just a reminder, the other three sessions we have coming up this month, November 18th, 2 o'clock Central, will be Krista Haberstock, Bookable Speakers will be joining us. November 20th is when we're going to have our first kind of just ASC internal meeting. So a chance to get to know each other. Some of you wanted more of that, a chance to talk about what are we looking for, have some conversation around who would be good guests, good experts to bring in so we can really get the finger on the pulse of what y'all want outside of surveys. And then November 24th is Eric Termundi, who is a fabulous, well-known speaker on the future of work. I recommend checking out his website. I've been working with him a little bit. Great dude, and he volunteered to give us an hour of his time to just kind of share his journey in speaking, answer any questions, and that sort of thing. So, with all of that intro, I will introduce Marilyn August and turn it over to her. She is our she's one of us. She's an ASC member, resident LinkedIn expert, and she volunteered to do a special bonus session with us to help us with our LinkedIn profile. So, Marilyn, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for scheduling this session. It was listening to all those wonderful experts that you've been bringing in that inspired me to ask to do this, because I heard, and I might be quoting some of them this morning, I heard them say such amazing things, and I went, yeah, ding, ding, ding. That's exactly what you need to do with LinkedIn. So we're going to focus today on LinkedIn as a marketing tool for speakers, something that a lot of speakers tend to ignore, which surprises me. And I do apologize for the glare. I do have some lighting issues. So one of my, a speaker you may have heard of, a man by the name of Frank Kitchen. Do you know him, Steve? Frank Kitchen.
I do.
I've heard him speak many times, and if you have an opportunity, definitely listen to him. One of the things Frank said that really resonates with me, well, he said a lot of things, but one of the things he said is, if you're a speaker, it's 80% sales and 20% stage. And we're here to talk about the 80%. Now, I make a distinction between sales and marketing. I don't know if Frank does. I didn't get to ask him. We're going to be talking about marketing because marketing is an invitation. It's a chance to get, it's the old marketing rubric, know, like, trust. You've heard it 1,000 times. Any place you go, anywhere you go. Marketing, in my view, is getting to know and like you. It's the invitation to open the door to consider you as a speaker. That's why you have all that collateral material. Collateral? That's very good, Marilyn. Besides a smoke alarm, I have a little bronchitis going on. So that's why you have all those materials, is so that people can get to know you. They will get to trust you and like you on that one-to-one sales meeting. And that's the goal of everything I do with LinkedIn, is to get the initial meeting. Because as one of our experts said, the trust level in this marketplace is really, really low. They want more information. They want to take less risk. I think people are very risk averse. My opinion, I have an opinion on everything. My opinion since COVID is they're more risk adverse to take a chance because after all, they're trusting their stage with you. And they are responsible for the success of their meeting. So if you're lousy or you don't do what they ask you to do, it's not you that are going to get the consequences, it's them. So we're using LinkedIn as a tool, as another venue to build trust, to build the know and the like. Think of it as the top of the marketing funnel. Yes, you do a lot of other things for marketing. You have your one sheets, you have your reels, you have your directory listings, but inevitably, what do you hear when you go to a networking meeting or an NSA meeting or any other kind of meeting? They're going to say to you, connect with me on LinkedIn. And actually, I'm going to ask you to connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you have a chance during this meeting, definitely put your info in the chat. And so will I. We'll take a pause and do that when we have time.
Hey, Marilyn, I'll go ahead and put your link to LinkedIn in
Okay.
the chat, and then we can all
All right.
choose to connect. Yep.
If you want, yes.
Cool.
Because there's while there's competitors out there, LinkedIn has 815 million B2B, and I'm going to say decision makers. So there's no gatekeeper on LinkedIn. And one of the wonderful things about there being no gatekeeper on LinkedIn is you can get to the decision maker without having to go through 45 different people. The bad news is if you mess up on LinkedIn, you've messed up with a decision maker. So the fact that there is no gatekeeper, and I have to stop. Well, I won't tell you a story right here. You've messed up. So that's why we're going to dive into LinkedIn today, because everything everybody else said, whether it's personal branding, the way you look, all the other experts we've had, and they've just slipped my mind. It all dances around LinkedIn. You're a presence there. You are the product. They are taking a chance on you. So I have lots to say, but I'm going to ask Steve to time me rather than me keeping time, because I promised to do 15 years of expertise in 20 minutes. But it's going to be more fun to actually look at your profile, because this is something that's easier to see than to talk about.
Yeah, and I'll leave it to you. I'll let you know when it's 12:20 or 12:22, I guess.
Yeah.
You started, but if you want to do more hot seats, you're welcome to do that. So it's your show, Marilyn, whatever you want.
So Steve has offered very kindly. I have a LinkedIn Tips and Scripts ebook, and he has offered to send it out to you so that I don't have to. And we're going to go through a lot of the things they say are in the ebook so that you can take notes, of course, but you don't have to. But I'm going to make some distinctions and some probably radical ideas compared to what else you've heard. And that's why we have a Q&A session. So you can beat me up at the end if you want. So the first distinction I'm going to make about LinkedIn is that LinkedIn is not social media. Now, I know you've heard it's social media. That's what all the digital marketers tell you. But there's a very important distinction. LinkedIn is a professional network. Think about social media as some place where you want to get a large following, a lot of likes. And like I say, likes don't go to the bank. LinkedIn is social selling. And the distinction is that LinkedIn is one-to-one. In LinkedIn, you're making connections, you're engagement, you've heard that word used in social media, so that you have a meeting. In fact, that's how I got started in LinkedIn. I'll just segue for a moment. I did not start out to be a LinkedIn guru, and I don't consider myself a LinkedIn guru, but I had a problem. Rather, my clients had a problem. And the problem was that the cold call died. The cold call has about 3% call through rate. Now, I know there are still people that are teaching cold call. You want to do cold calls, bless your heart. I don't. I want to get on that stage without the hassle of a cold call. So I was doing business consulting. I never call myself a coach because I always told people what to do. I was doing business consulting, coaching, advising, whatever you want to call it, to small family-owned businesses, mainly in sales and marketing. I liked family-owned businesses, and this is a niche you might want to consider because you can't fire your brother. They have to solve their problems. So I was doing that. You don't need a sales coach if you can't get sales calls. And they couldn't get sales calls. So I kind of stumbled on LinkedIn thinking I'd be like SEO for LinkedIn. I thought it was very clever. I turned cold calls into warm calls. In those days, before Microsoft bought LinkedIn, anybody could see your profile. You didn't need a subscription. So I started looking at my clients' profiles and I said, oh my God, I don't want anybody to see these. And that's how I got into personal branding. They were awful. And there's a reason they were awful. And believe it or not, LinkedIn still tells you that over 90% of profiles are awful because LinkedIn started as a job board. So most people, believe it or not, think their LinkedIn profile should be a resume. They're written in resume stuff. They've told me what you do in the past. They list your achievements. It's very passive. And more importantly, it's boring stuff. And you know, today we have about 30 seconds to grab attention. So the notion that people are going to hire you because of your past experience, that's one of those myths that I hope we blow away today. You're smarter than that. You know they're going to hire you on their stage to solve a problem. I had a wonderful coach who taught me, and I'll just say what David Newman taught me. He said they hire you to solve one of three kinds of problems: a people problem, a process problem, or a profit problem. And he said, Marilyn, which are you? That's how Profit GPS was born. So you're being hired to solve a problem, not for your past. The other style of profile I see is advertising. Advertising masquerading as a profile tells me how great you are and how many funny initials you have after your name. I had a client once, a very nice lady. She had several acronyms. I actually wrote an article called "Are You a Jargon Junkie?" And someone told me that I am, but that's another story. I don't know if we have time for that. So she had all these initials after her name that I didn't understand. And if I don't understand it, I have a master's degree. If I don't understand it, they're not important. And when I wanted to write her profile and questioned her about it, she said, oh, people in my industry know exactly what this means. I asked her, are you selling to people in your industry? So remember, profile is the nucleus. That's tip number one. In social selling, your profile is the nucleus of everything that happens on LinkedIn. When you see my ebook, you'll see a giant jigsaw puzzle, and it has all the component parts that go into social selling. Because remember, this is virtual. You're talking to strangers. So tip number one, your profile is the center of the universe here. Even if you're on directories, what do? They have your LinkedIn logo and they say connect to your profile. You're never connecting to your posts. You're never connecting anywhere else. You're connecting to the profile. So that's why we're spending some time today on the LinkedIn profile. So tip number one, forget the resume, forget the advertisement. It's personal. People buy you, particularly in speaking. People buy you no matter what they buy. They're not buying your process. They're buying you. Well, second part of what I wanted to talk about is number two, another myth about LinkedIn is is, this is not the right way to say this, so I'm going to take this back. I'm going to say tip number 2 is money's in the mailbox. What does money in the mailbox mean? Your inbox in LinkedIn is the most important part of your marketing, messaging. It's one-to-one. It's one-to-one connections. And the way I run in LinkedIn, I think that it's connecting with influencers. Yes, there are plenty of event planners on LinkedIn, and there are plenty of agents on LinkedIn, and there are plenty of other people that market speakers. But like recruiters, you may or may not be on their list. So crafting the message is both an art and skill. We're all aware of AI. Every other webinar that I see is AI. You may even be a speaker on AI. But people on LinkedIn are pretty smart. 850 million of us, professionals. We're beginning to be able to spot when it's an AI message. None of us like to be spammed. None of us like to be pitched. I call it slap pitching. Has anybody, raise your hand if you've ever gotten a slap pitch message? I hate them. The delete button is so easy. Now, if I'm in a nasty mood, I might do something snarky, but not these days. I used to do something snarky, but these days, most of the time it's a bot. So just hit the delete button, get rid of it, and be authentic. Everybody's, authentic is now a buzzword in marketing. I looked back at my career and said, is there any other kind? And now I'm starting to use a bit of humor in my messaging. So it's okay, and I'll put in parentheses, humor. It's because not everybody has the same dry sense of humor I do. And make no assumptions in your messaging. Either with your acronyms, every time I use an acronym, I spell it out. So this article I wrote on, are you a jargon junkie? A client talking to me, she says, well, Marilyn, you are one. I said, me? I'm writing the article. And she said, you use the words B2B. I assumed everybody knew B2B. That's not an acronym. Well, she didn't know it meant business to business. And she taught me a very good lesson. Today, people speak in text. I don't know text. So very often I'm Googling what I'm reading. But may I suggest to you as tip number 2 is if you use acronyms, please, in parentheses, in your messaging, spell it out, even if you think the person knows it, because nobody's going to want to do business with you or put you on a stage if they feel stupid. It's the worst thing you can do in the marketing process, because remember, these are strangers. This is virtual to real relationships. These people don't know you, and they're not going to admit that they don't know what they don't know. That's incredibly important to know. And my third tip, after we move from crafting our messaging, is all this nonsense about posting. How many people have been told they should post every day? Oh, good. Oh, okay. No, that's a commodity. People that are telling you should post every day are remember, they're selling products. Digital marketers, ever since Microsoft bought LinkedIn, digital marketers have grouped LinkedIn in with all other social media. What Microsoft did was change the algorithm. Now, I'm not a techie wizard, but I know enough about this. LinkedIn, and I have this image of these 19-year-old programmers that have never spoken on a stage being up some in an ivory tower at Microsoft, deciding they don't have anything to do, and they change everything. And of course, there's no user groups at Microsoft. so they don't ever ask us. Well, one of the things they changed is they decided that the more people that saw your post, the more they would show it. And the less people that saw the post, the less they would show it. So posting every day is kind of a waste of your time. Has anybody ever gotten hired on a stage, paid only because of a post? Never. I've never in over 15 years, I've never heard of anybody. I posted, I got this gig. No. What posts are, the purpose of posts are to drive credibility, establish your credibility, and establish your authority as an expert. So when you post, make your post make sense. I even tell people, if you got nothing to say nothing. All my posts come from real life stories. They really happen. They're with talking with people. There'd be a stage story. There'd be a question that you were asked on stage. I used to collect 5x7 cards. Now I have my handy dandy phone recorder with me, and you can capture something that happens during your day and turn it into a post. You need less than 500 words to make it a post when it has a lesson to teach so that you're established as a authority. Now, I'm probably insulting you when I say to you, leave your personal life off LinkedIn. You will probably already know that. I'm seeing something in the chat that I can't see, Steve. What are you saying, Steve?
Oh, there's a little bit of conversation going on with people in there. Probably nothing that you need to see, but
okay.
Just
right.
Conversation around LinkedIn and how frequent to post and kind of confirming what you're saying.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want. I know we have Q&A later.
Yep.
So I'm talking to the choir here.
And it's about time. I mean, you can do whatever you want with your time, but
Yeah.
You asked for the 20-minute kind of signal.
All right. Yes. Okay. So I'll say one more thing about posts. No personal life. And political, not post politically, although I am seeing post politically. And while your religious beliefs may be deeply held, they can actually lose you a gig. Reputation management is a big issue that I deal with in LinkedIn. So I see that we're about up to time with those three. Those were my three. Then I wanted to make sure to get in before we actually got into the profiles. So we'll have Q&A after the profiles, right? So please bring your questions. I buzzed through those three because those are my three hot buttons.
I love it. Yeah, and Sig, we'll bring up our question to Marilyn later. I'd love to hear her perspective on that. And I think our first hot seat is Amy. So if you want to go ahead and if you can just share your link in the chat to your LinkedIn, then I think, I don't know, Marilyn, if you want her to drive or if you want to drive or what, but as we're doing the hot seats, whoever up next, just kind of put your link in so Marilyn can grab it.
Let me grab. Well, Amy, why don't you grab it because I'm not logged in yet and I don't want to take our time.
Do you want Amy to share her screen or do you want to drive yourself, Marilyn? Or do you want me to share my screen?
Why don't you share your screen?
All right, I'll share it and then you guys can just tell me what you want to look more or less at. All right.
And I deliberately did not look at these ahead of time.
Can you see it now, Marilyn?
Yes, and I can see why I should share my screen because then now it's bigger. Okay. Well, the first thing I want to say is congratulations for having a banner. You cannot believe how many people I see that don't have a banner. They use the blank and they're speakers. So Amy.
Yes.
There's a part of the profile we call above the fold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people are going to see first. And that's what's got to grab attention. What you have, and I'm going to start controlling the share because it is a little bit smaller, but I'm going to do it with this one. Two things that hit me. Mm-hmm. First of all, and forgive me if you're offended, but you are a very attractive woman.
And you speak freely because I'm here to learn. And
okay,
I know I'm all over the place, so I'd like to hone in.
Well, the first thing people are going to look at is your image. And I should have, this is another hot button of mine. I can't see your eyes. If I were you, I would zoom in on that image, get rid of the background. I used to do a webinar, and I still have it, if anybody's interested, where I'd show an array of 6 images and ask, who would you never do business with just based on this image? And I was shocked at the answer, because I had my answer. But what they picked, inevitably, no matter what audience I did this for, what group I was talking to, is the image with a fancy background. So there was one guy that had a brick wall behind him, and they said they didn't like him. There was another guy with just a plain curtain behind him. They want to see you. So when I don't see your eyes, when I don't see your face, it's not necessary to have all that background, is all I'm saying. And you can probably use that image. And I went and hired a headshot expert. It was very inexpensive, just for this reason, because LinkedIn moved the image. So the first thing they see is the image.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend that you you do you. There's a lot to see here. Secondly, I'm looking at the banner and it's great, but there's a lot of wasted real estate here.
Okay.
By that, I mean your tagline, your, I have no clue what you do. Just looking at this part.
Right.
If I want to, remember, my goal is that your prospects, people that are going to hire you, are going to stop the scroll. They're not going to rush by. So I guess, Steve, you're right. I do need to control it because I want to look at the contact info. This is going to take us just a minute for me to get back to Amy. I can't find your message.
Or if it's easier, you can look at it on your screen and I can just kind of scroll with mine, whatever's easiest for you. Let
me just get into LinkedIn and I'll find Amy. I apologize for this, everybody. This was not my... I can blame the smoke alarm, okay?
If you weren't here for that, she had her early morning smoke alarm. She's blaming everything for that on that. So.
Everything is the smoke alarm's fault.
Don't worry, Amy, I'm adding minutes as we wait.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks.
I know you're super worried.
I know I'm not, but all good.
And I feel terrible about taking our time for me to log in.
Can you click my link from the chat?
I couldn't find your link. I would have.
It's right on the bottom. It's the last one in the chat.
It's the last one. Okay.
Sig, are you going to tell us jokes while we wait or anything? Or
no, I could tell some stories, but I don't have any jokes top of mind.
All righty. Here we go. And it's going to tell me that it wants me to sign in. Here we go, Amy.
Yay.
All right, let me come back and share. Talk about being embarrassed.
You're good.
All right.
You can put this on your LinkedIn profile.
Here we go. Okay, so the reason I wanted to take control is I wanted to click this. But before I do there, Amy, is there a reason you have the word, your middle name, or is that your maiden name? Is there
my maiden name? I probably can remove it now, but when I first created it, a lot of people
knew you as Amy.
Yeah, I probably could remove it if it's, you know.
The only reason if I use the search part up here to find you instead of your link, it makes it a little more difficult when you have a name in parentheses or a dash name. If I want to find you under your name,
I'll just remove it.
Okay.
I'm old enough to be known by my married name, so.
The reason I'm contacting her, clicking her contact information, is you would be surprised at how many people do not have their contact information completely filled out. Because what people are going to do is they're going to click over here to your website. And what I'm looking for here is brand consistency. So
You're
when
not
I,
gonna find my speaking brand right away.
pardon me,
But go ahead. No, go ahead. You can click through.
I'm not going to go through the whole website. This is what somebody who clicks on your link is going to see.
Yeah, I know. I need to fine tune my speaking ability on here because I have a zero waste store and I speak about climate and zero waste. So I need to make that more clear, I think.
Yes, this banner. So I'm a nag. That's my job.
Go for it.
Brand consistency
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things I look for. So even the colors on the website match. Because what you want here is engagement. You want people to look at this and stay, remember newspapers? When we had, some people still read newspapers. I shouldn't say remember when we still have. The headline, there was this above the fold. They would fold the newspaper and they're above the fold. So what people see here is above the fold. And there's a lot to read. You have, because you told me that you're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And the headline tells me you're all over the place.
Ta-da.
But it doesn't tell me anything about you. It tells me titles.
Mm-hmm.
So believe it or not, everybody, a headline is a verb. It's what do you do? What problems do you solve? And it could have a title. Now, if you have a speaking reels, I would get some speaking up here. I'll show you one or two that type styles that I recommend so that you're speaking. So the first thing I do is work on this to get clarity. And it's funny that people say, well, I can't work with you because I don't have clarity. Well, how do you think you get clarity? So this whole thing, I would work on getting a focus here and more action. 122 characters, headline in the newspaper.
Can you give me an example of something that's more a focus of a problem that would be solved? That's not necessarily me, but just like an example of what looks good.
Let me go to Natalie. I hope this shares without me having to reshare.
It is.
Okay. Let me see her. Okay. All right. I'm going to tell myself on me. Natalie was a client of mine. This is her. She's a speaker. This is her why.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I had to do is find a business application for living with purpose. Now, she changed this. This is why I don't show. She changed this. Since I've done her profile, people change their profiles. We had action. Let me see if Peter changed his. I'm trying to show you only.
We have about 3 minutes, Marilyn, with
Okay.
Amy's.
Oh, well, let me go back to Amy.
Time
Okay.
goes by fast for sure.
Okay, it sure does. So Amy, I'm going to come back to you.
Okay. Yeah, I took a picture of this so I can go back and look at him.
Okay. Let's see what happens when I go look for Amy. Oh, it does just come up with your two names. No problem. Okay. So we got it to above the fold.
Mm-hmm.
It's the about section that is your personal brand.
Okay.
Okay. Those first two lines, those first three lines that you had there, that's going to decide whether or not anybody's going to click to read about you.
Okay.
And connect with you. So these two lines here are are critical to engagement. And if those two lines don't grab attention, the rest of it is wasted. I don't know why. It used to be that this defaulted open. I'm not going to get into the particulars except to say that a personal brand starts with I. And again, this reads third person. Is it third person? I'm having a little trouble saying. Motivated second direct entrepreneur.
I do have my in the third line.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I.
It's not you. It's about you. It reads more like an advertisement than a personal brand.
Okay.
And are we out of time, Steve?
We are at time. If you have one final thought, feel free.
Well, I don't want to get into the she, her because it becomes very controversial for some people. But if anybody wants to ask me about that during our Q&A, there's different thoughts and different philosophies on this piece of real estate next to your name.
Yeah, when I was a climate-based fellow, they advised me to put that. That wasn't something I was naturally putting. But yeah, I'd love to hear about that in the Q&A.
When you were with whom?
I did a fellowship program called Climate Base. It's a climate symposium.
But you weren't selling yourself as a speaker.
No, I was a student.
Okay. And they advise you to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, as I said, it gets controversial.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Marilyn, Sean if you have final things for Amy, I know that went by really fast. Otherwise, you can wrap up there, and then Sean put his link at the bottom of the chat.
Okay. Sean's
Thank you,
next.
Marilyn.
Thank you. Thank you for taking a risk.
Absolutely.
I'm very direct. Okay. Let me share my screen. Probably just could have gone right to it. Okay, let me get this out of the way. So Sean.
Hello.
Hi. One of the problems, and this is not your problem, this is a LinkedIn problem. One of the things that LinkedIn did when it moved your image to the left, if you can look at your banner, it cuts you off. Can't see you. If you can find a different image or somehow edit, cut and paste your image. I know you're facing the wrong way. I have the same problem with my photos. Most of them are facing the wrong way. The image used to be in the center, and then this would be fine. I'm having a little difficulty reading what the board says, but this does show you as a speaker. Does show you speaking. The problem is you're in the shadow. And again, visual, we are a visual society. I'm not, I'm auditory, but the society has gone visual with video and all that. So Sean, I would encourage you to see if you can find an image that presents you with your image over here on the left, on the right. I'm left-handed. Your photo's great. It could, it could be the background doesn't bother me at all. I don't think it's a bother. I think you're focused enough to be right front and center there. The banner is wasted real estate. When I preach about the banner, and this is preaching, the banner is the first thing people see. It's going to grab their attention. So free real estate. You don't have to pay for this. So use it. Use it well. So that's the first thing I would say.
Okay.
Okay. I'm looking at your headline. And this really gets into a little bit of coaching, sales coaching. Have humility to learn, courage to act. That's a great slogan. But if I'm a leader, do I lead with humility? That's what you're teaching them, is to lead with humility. I don't see that I'm going to admit as a leader, as somebody that's supposed to know it all, that I don't know it all. Are you
Can you
following?
not quite. Can you clarify that for me, please?
You're a leadership consultant for high potential, ambitious emerging leaders. Why do I need a leadership consultant? If I'm ambitious, have high potential, and I'm an emerging leader, why do I need you?
The short version is just simply to continue to learn, but then also the second part of that is to set goals to make sure that you're acting on what you're learning and to put it into action.
Okay. Can I press you just a little bit more?
Sure, please.
What is it that I have to learn? I know everything. I went to Stanford. I have an MBA.
If you have that approach, then you're probably not the right one for me. That's how I'm going to approach it.
Do you see how clear you got right there?
Mm-hmm.
So what I heard you say, if I was working with you, which this would be so much fun, is you tame the snob effect. Okay, you tame the snob effect to have an open mind, to grow yourself and grow your business. Do you see how that humanized you?
Yeah.
Everybody, the minute you said that, you clarified who your client is. So you're not interested in arrogant snobs. You're not interested in know-it-alls. You're interested in people that have open minds and are lifelong learners. Now, there are some buzzwords out in the marketplace today, everybody, that you can use. I've learned the hard way that people will react positively to buzzwords. Lifelong learner is a buzzword. You can use it because that's who you're looking for. You're looking for the person that doesn't know it all. Did everybody hear the difference between what I said and what this says? It tells me nothing. Why do I want to scroll down and learn anything about this person? Why do I want to engage with them? That's what the headline should do. It should motivate me to want to engage. And we're just above the fold. Again, I'm going to click the contact information. Is there a reason you don't have your email here?
That's a good question.
Is it on purpose? Pardon me?
I thought I did. I don't know why that's not showing because I thought I had it on there.
All right.
So I can verify it.
Yeah. One of the things you'll get out of this morning is add your email. And you have two company emails, websites.
Well, one's my company, one's for the podcast that I have. That second one is
could you change the parentheses word to podcast? Will they let you do that?
That's a good question. I can try.
Because I wouldn't know which website to look at for you as a speaker. Sometimes there's a drop-down menu and you can't change it. But wouldn't that make a lot of sense to?
Yeah, it would. If it can be done, yeah, I'll try it.
If it can be done, I recommend that. Otherwise, did you know that you can post up to 5 pieces of media in your experience section? Does everybody? The experience section allows you to post up to 5 pieces of media. I'd suggest everyone use that section. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. Unless I want to point out again, you have 4 lines. No, it isn't default open. Now on the experience section is default open. So oftentimes I find that I'm moving non-personal branding items to the experience section, because first of all, I only have 2,000 characters here about the about section. So I want to, and my first goal is to get this click more. And any website designer will tell you, the more that a person has to click, the less likely they are to go through your website. Same applies with LinkedIn. So these four critical sentences, the purpose of them is to drive engagement. Now, I'm not going to take the time to read it all, but I'm going to share with you a bias I have of mine. And it comes from my sales training. For those of you that don't know transactional analysis, it's a communications model. And I'll get to the point, I promise, Sean. It's a communication model used in sales a lot. And it talks about ego states. And it says that sales takes place in the adult to adult ego state. I tend to have certain words that I don't use in profiles because of transactional analysis. I don't want to be the parent. I don't want the reader to think I'm parenting them. So rather than, because there's two kinds of parents, there's a critical parent and I won't go into transactional analysis right now. You can look it up, Google it. It's an old communications model.
Yep, will do.
The word help is one of the words I don't use. I partner with, I work with, I support. Help puts you in a parent role. Another word, and I'm going to just give all my biases. If I see the word love, I love to help people. I'm thinking of the Zig Ziglar quote. Nobody cares until they know you care. So if you've got words like, I'm passionate about, well, I should sure hope so. Those kind of words are turnoffs to people that want to be considered. I mean, you're on a B2B, you want to be hired on a stage. $5,000 to $15,000 to $20,000. You're not their parent. You're their expert. So be careful with your, and I'm sensitive to this, Sean. I'm not picking on you. This is just something I pick up because of my sensitivity to that.
No, I appreciate you saying that because I've actually had other people say we should avoid the word help.
Yeah,
and so
help is
validating. Mm-hmm.
And that does come from that transactional analysis model, which, by the way, I'm Sandler trained. If you know that system, that's my. So I would.
And Marilyn, we're just about at time, so feel free to just kind of wrap up. I know.
I know.
And then Sid can put his link in there too.
Yeah. Okay, I'll stop this share and go to the next person. Boy, 10 minutes does go fast.
You can keep the share if you want. I think if you just click the link, it'll probably bring it up.
Thanks,
Sorry,
Marilyn.
you can finish your thought, Sean. I didn't mean to cut you off there if you have other final thoughts there. Sorry about that.
No, that was about it. We did a lot in a short period of time, didn't we, Sean?
Those are great. Thank you.
Is Sig next?
Yep.
Okay. We're getting this finally. Okay. Hi, Sig. You've got courage after what I've already told people.
But all right. I already wrote down, change the word. It's a nice header, but change the word helping. I already wrote that down.
Okay. Your banner is great. It positions you as a speaker. You did something very, very difficult. You wrote a book. And again, I can't see it. If you could bring your book over into this area or move you a little bit and give yourself some room for a book, you're a published author. And I know in our world, we take that for granted. It's like, oh, big deal. But in the speaking world, that sets you apart. So I'd like to see your book featured here somewhere. But other than that, the world's best. Okay. That's great for your banner. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm sure your website's here. And again, I'm going to ask the same question. Is there a reason why your email's not here?
Well, it is. I'm going to look into that as well. It it is. So for some reason it's not appearing, and I'll just look at why that's
Okay,
glitching,
maybe
I
you
guess.
just
I just very quickly, I just verified my email is there as well. I'm wondering if it's because we're second connections. Do you have to be a first
It could
connection in
be.
order to see that?
Oh, that's probably
okay. All
that's
right, then I
exactly
won't
it.
do this anymore. The reason
Yeah.
I'm asking about is that some people deliberately don't have their emails there because of spam. So
I
that
can
must be
confirm, Sean, I can see your email on mine.
okay. So
Good call.
it's a second connection. So let's
Yeah.
definitely connect so I can see your emails. So I don't do that again. So that's a change that LinkedIn must have made.
Yeah.
That you can't see it. Okay. Helping leaders. I would just change the order of this. You're going to change the word with helping, of course.
If you hit refresh, I already did.
Okay. All right. All right, then I'm not going to take the time to do that right now, but I would definitely put this part first and then the title second.
So I'm sorry, put which part first?
What word did you put instead of helping?
Partnering with.
Partnering with company. I would put that here first.
Okay, got it.
Motivational speaker.
Yep.
Okay, and then just change so the problem you solve first, the title's after.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's scroll down. Oh, that's pretty compelling. I shouldn't be here today. All right, I want to use, this is going to get me to click. You better, this is going to be getting me to click. I shouldn't be here today. That's a personal brand. That's your why. That's going to grab anybody. This is really good.
Thank you.
And what you did was you condensed your story. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than 3 lines. You condensed your story to make me want to click. And you came up in the second paragraph with your why. Why hire Sig to be on the stage? Because this is personal. I'm going to speak from the heart. This isn't some intellectual exercise for Sig. And he wrote about it. I love the title of your book. Did you notice the order of the why? The story came first. His why came first. Then his expertise came second. This is really good. And believe me, I don't say that very often.
Thank you.
And then in the third paragraph, we get your expertise and your credentials. The order is brilliant.
Thank you.
Because we have to keep people who have no attention span attending. And I love it. And then he gives his credentials and wait till the third paragraph. And then in the fourth, he tells us what he does. Sid, I don't know if you did this by yourself or you had this done, but this is what a personal brand is all about. I couldn't have picked a better example.
Thank you. I'll credit my time as a marketer at General Mills.
Oh, maybe that
Helping
had
with
something
me.
to do with it. So I'm
Yeah.
speaking to the choir here. That's really, really good. Really good.
Thank you.
When I first saw that sentence, I thought about, well, why the heck shouldn't he be here today? Was I that lousy? Okay. All right. This gets to his posts. His posts are real. They're actually informational. His profile is filled. It's not a skinny profile. I often talk about skinny profiles when we got down to the experience section. This is where you talk about your company or yourself in the third person, which he did. Okay. When you edit this, Sig, you can put any of your assets, your videos,
Yeah.
up to 5 pieces below this area. This is a very nice length experience section. It's not too long. And you'll notice that he's got his logo here. This logo is pulled from his business page. Business pages on LinkedIn aren't looked at very often. But what they are good for is they're another place to put your posts. And also to pull your logo. This is where your logo comes from, is your business page.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm struggling with because it's only been 63 weeks. I'm struggling with, is the business page worth the effort or not? Because it doesn't just happen magically, right? Should I just put all my effort in my personal page? And I don't do a lot for the business page, but I do struggle with, is it beneficial or not?
In LinkedIn, put all your effort into your personal page. And then if you're posting, go ahead and repost on your business page. I believe if you're going to go to the trouble of writing, oops, wrong one. We're on your business page. One of the problems that we have here is that LinkedIn doesn't take you back
Right.
to your regular page once you go to the business page. Very few people look at the business pages. The only thing it's good for is SEO. Use your content as long as you're posting, post there. But I'm going to show you, if we have time, I want to show all of you a little trick. I didn't have time in the 20 minutes to show you about newsletters, but I'm going to answer your question during the Q&A because we have to get to number 4. Do we have time, Steve?
Yeah, if you want to do another minute or two of this, and then Jen, if you want to put your link in the chat, that'd be great.
Okay.
There she is.
All right. So LinkedIn allows you to do a free newsletter, but they bury it. And I wanted to make sure I got this in today. They bury it. Where do they bury it? They bury it where it says, write an article. So if you're going to write a post, you usually go to home, you start a post. Instead of doing that, or click on write an article, and there'll be a drop-down menu. Don't write an article. There's a drop-down where you can create a newsletter. I happen to have a newsletter, and I'll just, if it's okay, you can create a newsletter. You can have more than one newsletter. A newsletter is no different. Now you're going to laugh. My newsletter is called Stop Stupid Stuff. This image here shows you what I was talking about at the beginning, that everything's about. The advantage of a newsletter is that when you write a post, and Sig, you're going to probably pick on this right away, and let me go back to yours. whoops, I keep going to the wrong person. What I wanted to say about the newsletter. I'm sorry, Sean. This should be SIG.
It's at the bottom of the chat. If you just go there again, you can click on it.
What the advantage of the newsletter is. For those of you who have been, I didn't get a chance to say that, is that you can invite people to read your article. That gets around. Why is that doing that? Click into, oh, here, it's coming up. You click too many times. The advantage of doing that over posting, everybody, is that once you write the article, it's the same as writing an article. Give your newsletter a snazzy name that's branded with you. So for somebody like Sig, the obvious name for his newsletter is Dying to Be the Best. It's congruent. When you write your post as an article, at the end, and I didn't want to take the time to do this, you can invite people. LinkedIn allows you to invite people to read it. You can send them a message to read it. It's not like just sitting out there passively. So I recommend, if you're going to do something once a week, and frankly, I think once a week is plenty, and we can, if you've got something to say, then you can actually get it seen. So I recommend finding the buried newsletter and starting a newsletter. And also, if you do an email, you can use the same content for your email. You can use the same content on your business page and all the groups you belong in. Okay. Sig, thank you so much. This is really awesome. It's wonderful to see.
Well, thank you. I'm going to start a newsletter. I
Yeah.
didn't know that, Jim. So that's awesome.
They bury it. I
Yeah.
swear they bury it. So I'm glad I got a chance to talk about it because I wanted to do that in the 20 minutes, but really, really more powerful than posting. And who's
All right, thanks, Nick. I did. Jen put her link. I just recopied it down on the bottom of the chat.
okay, Jen. Let me get down here. Why am I going up instead of down? Here we go.
Full disclosure, I'm not a marketer like Sig is.
Well, I'll tell you something. None of us started out as marketers. I sure didn't start out that way. I started out to do training programs. So I promise you, I'll be gentle, but I hope you've picked up a few things, Jen.
Absolutely.
Okay. A great banner of you speaking. If there's a way to edit it, so there's more of you and less of the audience. And also you've got all this space over here for your tagline or your title or something. This shows you speaking. That's the most important part. Shows you speaking. So I cannot tell you how many I see of speakers that don't show them speaking. So a mic in your hand is the best. The podium. There's some way. There's got to be a way to edit this, to get rid of this part and get you some space in here to get some text in there.
Oh yeah, I can play with that. Canva's my friend.
Yeah, Canva's my friend too. So if you have trouble with it, let me know.
Okay.
Again, your image, there's not enough of you. You know that. Well, we see the background. This circle thing is really hard. Again, this is one of the places where they didn't do a focus group and they didn't ask us users what we wanted. They moved it from the center of your to the back, and it's hard. But do you see all this background over here? And how? Yeah. And when we wear glasses, we need to bring our face a little bit up further so that people can see us. And that's what I would recommend, is that you bring it up further.
Oh, so you're saying less of the chest
Back.
Up and more of the neck up?
Yeah, and less of the background. Is that the only headshot you have?
No, I got several.
Find one where your head isn't cut off.
Oh, that's just a movement thing. I can move it over.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can move this, I don't know if the other people agree. I just want to see more of you. You know,
More of my face.
more of your face.
Got it. I thought it was pretty close up, but okay.
Book. Okay, what's an MAL and an ACC?
MAL is Bachelor's in Leadership. ACC is Associate Certified Coach.
Okay. Are those initials going to get you bookings?
Potentially,
Why?
because as a person who has a graduate degree, I would be a good candidate for presenting at educational institutions and having not just experience in leadership, but also education in it. As far as the coaching certification, I do a lot of leadership talks. So I bring a coaching approach to leadership, and I'm certified through an international organization.
That I never heard of. I'm being facetious. I'm really being sarcastic. You heard my whole spiel about acronyms.
Mhm.
These seem very important to you.
I actually added the graduate degree from recommendation of another professional speaker because I didn't used to use it in my marketing.
Who's your audience? Educational institutions?
Not mostly. I mostly speak with associations, some corporate clients, entrepreneurs.
All right. Well, every expert's going to have a different opinion. I'm looking at the I, reading your name, and looking at it as the top of the funnel. Are you an agent?
No,
Why does it say book your more profitable stages?
because I help you create a speaker booking system without the need of an agent or a bureau.
So you sell to speakers.
Yes.
Okay. You sell to speakers and you also speak.
Correct.
So you don't have, do you have an agency?
No.
How do you help me book more profitable stages?
By helping you organize your back office and develop your business in a more consistent and focused way, rather than waiting for invitations.
Does I'm really on shaky grounds here. I've got to be honest with you, because I feel like I'm talking to the shoemaker's children. You know, it's what who was the speaker, Steve, that said, I think it was Nikki. I loved it. It's difficult to see the label from the inside of the jar. And that's what I feel like we're doing here, is you're inside the jar. I'm outside of it looking at it. And when I say the shoemaker's children is very often our expertise, as I tell my clients, you're in grad school with what you do. The stranger who's never met you is in 6th grade. The average reading level of the American today, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is around 6th grade reading level. It's very difficult when you're highly educated to bring down. I had, when my books out of print, so I don't want to, but I had an editor who used to say to me, Marilyn, I don't understand what you're talking about. Every weekend, Sig knows this, writing a book. I don't understand what you're talking about. And I would say to her, I understand it perfectly. And that is a problem for us that sell ourselves. So this is what I'm seeing, Jen, is I'm seeing some emotional attachment. And I'm seeing it, you selling what you're telling me you're going to do for me, which is to organize me and to get my back office running. but I don't see that anywhere here. I
What
don't,
would give you an indication that that's what it is in different language?
So one of the things I say in my profile is you can spend more time with your clients without the hassle of cold calls. So you want to give a positive and a negative of what you do. So people want stages. They want to be on profitable stages. You're saying to me, what's in my way of getting there is I'm disorganized and scattered. And I do too many things. So you're eliminating some of the hassle. I'd have to really get into what you do, but you see just in our conversation how much more information you gave me about what you do.
Mhm.
And what I would recommend with these acronyms, if you're really attached to keeping them there, is then do spell them out in parentheses next to them.
Okay.
So you put parens around them. I think you have enough care. I think you can do that. I'm not sure there's enough room to do that because you have three names. So I'm not sure there's enough room. But I hold a master's degree that it's at the bottom of my bio. I've never gotten a speaking engagement because I have a master's degree, but it depends on your audience. So
Right.
this
Yeah.
seems like there's an emotional attachment here, which very often I run into when I'm doing profiles. Is I do run into, I want this. And I'm not even going to I'm sure you have your website. And we're second connection. So definitely connect with me. Let's scroll down a little bit. They're giving you 4 lines. Okay, this is really going to get into controversy. I like the way you phrase this. Do you suspect? Do you have an idea that? It's a really great way to phrase it. Because if that, and I know this, there are a lot of people teaching ask a question in introduction. If the answer is no, I don't suspect that I lack confidence, then you're done. So when you start a profile with a question, or frankly, if you start a self-introduction with a question, there is that tiny bit of risk that even though you think it's an obvious yes, if you start with a yes and no question and you get a no, why would I continue reading? Why would I bother? So I recommend we do not start with a question. More of a story of maybe somebody you helped. You know, Sally was stumped that. Or something you've spoken about, or a real life situation like Sig's got. So something that's going to not tell me that I lack the self-awareness to know that I lack confidence. So you're in grad school, your reader's a stranger, they've gotten this far, and they're not going to admit unless you're an excellent salesperson and you can get behind the intellect, they're not going to admit that they don't know what they don't know. So part of the skill of a salesperson is getting underneath the hidden agenda, I call it. Because even teams, and probably those of you that speak to teams and leaderships, they don't want to admit there's a problem. They're going to tell you it's the other employee that has the problem, not them. It's going to take them gaining your trust for them to disclose to you. And I tell a quick story in one of my speaking about they had a fight with their wife, but they're not going to tell you. So they tell you they can't afford it. But it was really the wife that was overspending, or the husband that was overspending. Sorry for the gender stuff. But they're not going to admit that. They're going to tell you, oh, we just can't afford it. But that's my topic. So I would recommend that you rethink this from a point of view of an adult to adult problem solver. Does that make sense?
On some level, yes.
But
Yeah, I'm speaking to adults here. And if it's a no, that's okay. They may not be for me anyway. If they, again, it's like what Sean said. It's the I don't deal with snobs or arrogant folks. Like if you don't have a beginner's learning mind, then I'm probably not the fit for you. So if someone's saying, no, I don't suspect that I struggle with these things, I'm like, cool.
okay, so you don't want to work with them. Okay, so leave it just the way it is. You don't. Are you overbooked?
No.
Okay. Just wondering. Okay. I talk to everybody. I know within 5 or 10 minutes whether or not they're prospects. And sometimes I say goodbye, but that's just me. Okay. This goes into a bit of a bio and a bit of an advertisement. So
Then
you're
Marilyn, finish up this section, then we'll do Q&A.
okay. Okay. So I think I've said there's a philosoph. Okay, so you're positioning yourself as a speaker, trainer, and confidence coach. All right, that makes sense. Oh, I just want to say a word here. If you've got more experience here and they don't have logos, it's either a company you've worked with and they don't have logos, you can get the logo on their business page. It should come over as soon as you click this. And I also recommend for those of us that are a little bit older or a little bit more mature. I usually go back about 10 years on experience, and I eliminate everything on yours, Jen, is consistent with what you do. Okay, you don't have like I was a manager at CVS. Every experience that you list is consistent with what you do. So once again, consistency for brand in your experience sections. Nobody tends to go all the way down here for recommendations. They put it down at the bottom. But it's always good to have them just in case. So this is a completely filled out profile. You'd be surprised how many I don't see filled out. You have your certificates, you have your experience, you have your skills. And remember, you can add 5 pieces of media to your sections, to your experience section. And with that,
I have it under projects, so it's a little too far down for people to hit. So I'll put it up closer to the experience piece.
yeah, maybe that's what you want to do. Because remember, again, the scrolling, stop the scroll before they'll even talk to you.
Yep.
Okay, Steve, I think that about wraps it up and I'll stop the share.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for all of that. I think, going through each person's helps each of us in our own way. I've been going back and forth to my profile.
Well, I learned something. I didn't know I couldn't get emails if I was second connection.
Yeah, no. And so we have 11 minutes left. I know you wanted a couple minutes at the end to kind of share some things. We don't have a lot of time for Q&A. Obviously, I always have questions, but there's some in the chat. So folks that put them in the chat, why don't you just go ahead and go off mute and ask your question, whatever is the most pressing.
Please. And I'm going to put my contact in the message.
Okay, go ahead, Ann.
Hello, hello. I loved your comment about newsletters, and I've been thinking about starting one and having one on LinkedIn because what I like is I started following a couple newsletters and I get emails every time they post them. Mm-hmm. So I'm impressed that, as a prospect, I'm getting somebody like a personal message in my email. I don't have to be on LinkedIn every day, but I can go there every day as people are posting. So my question for you is, as a podcast host, or someone who has a blog or a speaker with a message, tell me a little bit more about the newsletter. Is this just to get an idea, help them understand who I am and what I do? Or is this a place you could kind of hint at the podcast episode for the week and then tell them to go watch the rest of it? Or like, is it like an ad or is it more like a blog?
What a great question. Boy, I wish,
can tell I'm spinning.
I say I only work with smart people, but this is, I think here's the rule of thumb that a lot of so-called gurus say. 1 in 3. Two are informational, 1 can be an ad. Or in a newsletter situation, you could put a link to the podcast if in fact you're talking about what the subject matter of the podcast was, or something that somebody said on the podcast. So always think about your goal and your purpose. Your purpose is credibility, authority, and visibility. So it's okay to have a link to your podcast, but where do you make your money, if I may ask?
Oh, that's a great question. Not from my podcast.
Yeah. Podcast
I
is
think I've only gotten 1 gig off of my podcast.
Yeah.
And then, and then a follow-up gig from that one. But yeah.
So a podcast, and I used to, in the olden days, I shouldn't say olden days, somebody told me not to say that. I actually had a radio show, an interview show, back when they were on the radio. It's a marketing tool, just like LinkedIn. If I were working with you, Ann, and my company's Profit GPS, it would be to promote your speaking.
Right.
And to your authority as a speaker in whatever topic you speak on.
Okay.
Okay.
I love that.
Here's
Thank
somebody
you.
that's just telling, Jen's just taught me something. You can do events. So Jen, could you explain that?
Yeah, and I have yet to test this, but one of my connections told me that she runs ongoing events. And so if you create the event from your business page on LinkedIn, and just before that event goes live, people can sign up directly on LinkedIn. They don't go to whatever your ticket service is or whatever. So that's cool. That's convenient for them and for you. But then also the day of the event, change the date to the future date of an event if you're doing ongoing events. And then it cumulatively sends out to the people who expressed interest, who liked it, who engaged with it, that sort of thing. So, if you run events all the time, it's a great way to get a bigger audience, to get bigger reach, that sort of thing.
Thank you. Do we have more time, Steve, or not?
Depends on how much time you want to leave at the end to share anything that you have. We'll do a hard stop at the end, at the bottom of the hour. So,
well, let me take one more question.
Anybody
Well,
else have
I would
questions?
like
Otherwise,
to-
I do. Jen, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, I want to go back to the she, her thing, or the gender thing in the
Oh, that's
profile, because
cool.
I know you have a hot take on it. So let's hear it.
That's more than a 1 minute. So I want to say ahead of time that this may be offensive to some people that are, depending on your audience and depending on your target market. That's why when Amy said she was told to do it, I personally think that space right after your name is very valuable real estate for other things. If you have a name that is gender neutral, and I had a Leslie, had a male Leslie, that's a gender neutral name in my mind. So Leslie had he, him, because he's a male. If you have a gender neutral name, I think that's what it's there for. But if you look at that pull down window, you can custom write text there. So if you look at, and the reason every time you post or every time you comment, your name comes up and the he, him, or she, her comes up, why not use it for your, you could say speaker next to it. If your audience demands it, as one of my clients told me, then leave it she, her. But when I read, and we read left to right, that disrupts my reading. So that's one of the reasons. But I look at the real estate and I look at the positioning, and every time you comment, your name is going to come up with she, her, or him. And you can there's custom text there. You can put anything you want right next to your name. So that's my 1 minute. And if you hate me for saying that, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, how much time do I want? Oh, what was I going to say? Two things. First of all, I appreciate all of you putting your hind end on the line in front of everybody else and showing up today. There's a lot to learn, obviously, and that's one of the reasons why Steve is going to be sending you my ebook. Love to connect with every one of you on LinkedIn. And obviously, my business is LinkedIn personal branding, and I run marketing campaigns for speakers, fractionals, all kinds of solopreneurs, so that you can be in 2 places at one time. My offer today is I do a LinkedIn quick fix for people like you that don't need the whole thing redone. You're not starting from scratch, most of you. You cannot believe how many people I have entitled rebranding to do. So we're not talking about that. I'm talking about a LinkedIn quick fix. I'd like to offer it to you at a reduced rate of $500. If you're interested, just contact me. I don't want to pitch slap you here. I came to do this as a thank you to Steve, but I do want to offer that special to this group of people if you showed up. Other than that, it's a lot more than that. And a personal brand is, I don't want to tell you what personal branding agencies charge, but I don't charge that much. But I want to thank all of you for being here today and for Steve to making this available. I hope you got some valuable information. And again, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's been my honor to be part of this group.
Thank you, Marilyn. Appreciate the offers. I will definitely send the book out. And if you have trouble connecting with Marilyn, just reach out to me and I can connect you with Marilyn. I know we do have 3 minutes left.
Okay.
I'm an optimizer. I'm a maximizer.
Well, I didn't want to.
I think Sig might have had a question in there. Sig, did you have a question?
Well, it's regarding more how to optimize posts. I've read plenty of stuff on that. It changes all the time.
Yes,
Should it be a video? Should it be a scroll through?
Okay, let me answer that.
And I don't know the current, but you get no lack of opinions. I have my own opinions just because I post enough about what seems to maximize stuff. So if you have any insight on that that's current, that'd be great. But I think it's a challenge to keep up with.
Well, I think the algorithm is a challenge to keep up with. And Sid, what I usually just say is a variety. Just don't get stuck in a mode. One time I heard all text. I was saying all text, and I was saying image with text. Carousels are very well received, again, because of the low attention span. But I've gone to the newsletter and writing, when I first started writing, it was 1,500 words. Now it's 500 to 600 words, maybe with some animation. What I don't care for, and I'll be very animated about this, is I don't care for the talking head videos. Are you all seeing those where someone's got their face in there and they're chatting away thinking you should listen to them and they're a talking head? Avoid those. Even my explainer video is a cartoon. It's just boring. It may not be boring to you, but it's boring to them. That's why I probably didn't talk about my offer too much, because I didn't want to bore you or overpitch. But if you have any other questions, be happy to answer them. This is a constant, as Sig said, constant learning experience. Finding your personal brand inside that jar is really hard to do. So if you're interested in $20,000 stages, $15,000 stages, they're going to check you out on LinkedIn. Trust me, they don't trust you.
Yeah, and we'll wrap up there. I think, there's a lot there. Like, okay, are people finding us? Are they searching for us? Are they using LinkedIn as more like credibility once they've heard of us? Like, all those things are things to consider. I know Marilyn's a great resource. I mentioned in the chat, Richard Bliss is another great resource. He sends out like regular text messages around what's changed with the LinkedIn algorithm. So there are resources out there. I think part of the big question, I think for me and probably for all of us, is where does LinkedIn fit into our overall strategy? And I think that's a great question to ask ourselves, because we get lost and, oh, it should be on every platform doing every single thing and whatever. And so I think once you've decided that LinkedIn is part of your strategy, I think really honing in on, okay, what's the goal of LinkedIn? what is the actual purpose of it? Am I trying to meet new people? Am I reaching out? Am I using it for credibility? And then from there, then it's a matter of taking all these experts' advice and saying, all right, how do I actually create a site that actually does that sort of thing? But that's, to me, that's always part of the big challenge, is how does this roll up to the overall strategy?
Well, Steve, you brought up at the very end what I forgot. The only purpose of LinkedIn is getting a sales meeting in my mind, and that's cold outreach. So I do cold outreach. Everything else about LinkedIn is nice, but you can save hours and hours and hours of research with cold outreach. And I didn't talk about Sales Navigator, and I probably should have.
Yeah, well, there's too much to cover. Too much to cover.
There's too much to cover.
But I think the hot seats are great. I think that's a great way to kind of look into that. I think people that were willing to put their stuff out there, seriously,
Yeah,
I know that's not easy. I'm glad I didn't do it. So thank you
I
for that.
noticed. I noticed.
Oh no, it's, I'm just facilitating. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for jumping on here. Thanks for watching the video if that's your situation. Thank you, Marilyn. We'll get the book out to everybody, and we'll see you all next time.
If it's okay with you, Steve, I'll hang around for a minute, talk about Sales Navigator if anybody wants to. If it's okay with you, or do you have to close this meeting?
I have to run, but I can leave the meeting open. I don't need to. I can leave it open if people want to chat about that. I'll keep it recording too if people want that.
Or do you all have to run? It's been a long time.
I would love to hear about Sales Navigator.
Okay.
I'm just going to mute myself, and I'm going to leave the recording going. So if I'm back, I'll join in. Otherwise, I'll just obviously, if nobody's there, I'll shut her down.
Okay.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Thanks, Steve. So anybody who wants to hear about Sales Navigator, hang out for a minute.
Get Amy and Sig.
And then there were two.
I had it in my notes. That was the most important part of this, my 20 minutes. But I have that disease called I wanted to get too much information in too quickly. Steve's question is what to do with LinkedIn. And you can be on all these platforms. I neglected to mention that I run campaigns. And I don't run campaigns to find meeting planners or to find event planners. I run campaigns to find influencers. And one of our experts fascinated me with how much influence HR has on booking speakers. So when I run speaker campaigns, I'm looking for HR executives who can refer you. So Sales Navigator is a subscription. You both know that?
Yeah.
Do you want me to just do a little lecture, or do you want to ask questions about it?
I personally know very little about it. It comes up all the time, and I haven't used it. So,
well, the only reason to have Sales Navigator is if you're actually going to do a campaign. Like Steve said at the end, you have to decide what your goal is. To me, I always assume that you would use LinkedIn to do a campaign. Why bother? Why bother otherwise? Sales Navigator is a subscription service that LinkedIn designed, I believe, to attract enterprise companies. They partner with Salesforce, so that ought to tell you where they're looking at for their marketing. But it does two things for us that are very important. And I can bring up my Sales Navigator if you want and show you. LinkedIn has 10 lead filters, 10 target filters. I'll just bring up my LinkedIn. It's easier to show you. Let me go to my Sales Navigator and then share.
Well, there's actually three of us. There's Karen's note taker.
Well, frankly, Karen's note taker doesn't make me too happy. Okay, this is the Sales Navigator screen. Let me get rid of the notifications. Let me move us. Okay. By lead filters, this is what I'm talking about. This is what the homepage of the Sales Navigator looks like. I'm just going to click here to show you. There's 10 of these over here. So I build lists, campaign lists from Sales Navigator. You can target, and there's a keyword. So if you have, like I asked somebody, do you want educational institutions? It can do the connections. It's geography. So I always ask, because I traveled so much, I always ask clients, how far are you willing to travel? It's the whole world here. It's got 10 filters that you can build a targeted list. So one of the things it does, I'll show you one of them. Where's my safe searches? I got tons of them. One of the things it does is, all right, so I'm targeting small consulting companies. It gives me a list. Okay, I've got 5,000 small consulting companies. That's the name I labeled the list. So one of the things it does very well is and those are all the filters I put in. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to go by lists if you've got this. And I can even, one of the filters is, have they post on LinkedIn? Do you get notified? I get notified. Those were all those notifications were. I'm sorry. Let's go back to Sales Navigator. All those notifications were of my people on my list of their activity on LinkedIn. So if they run a post and I want to comment on their post, it's another source of engagement. That's really not what I use it for. I don't really use it for anything other than building lists, because I run cold campaigns, and I don't run my cold campaigns from here. I run them for clients. So let me close this.
Yeah. So first you build a list and you target certain items, and then what do you do?
Well, I have a system that I use. I actually have a third party that I use to do outreach campaigns, but I'm not here to sell you that. It's what a profile is for. The profile
are you exporting the data from here to that to execute
yes.
then, or okay?
Yes, I'm exporting and I'm cleaning and I'm scrubbing. But I wanted to show you the second thing that LinkedIn does. All right, let's say you want to target. Let me do this. Let's say there's a conference coming up. Let's say there's the American Marketing Association. There's a company. And you want to get to be a speaker at the American Marketing Association. What this will do is it'll show you key people. See that?
Mm-hmm.
It does sales intelligence for you, SIG. Having worked for a large company where there's multiple decision makers, when I said there's no gatekeepers on LinkedIn, you can get a direct message to decision makers and influencers, because LinkedIn, you know what I mean when I say sales intelligence, right?
Yep.
Remember when you had to map accounts?
Yeah.
When salespeople were going after certain accounts? And so, Amy, I actually had a client, if we're selling to enterprise companies at one time and there were multiple decision makers, you had to figure out who all the decision makers were and get through all the gatekeepers. Yes. What LinkedIn does for you is it will save, it'll save a company, it'll save a client. So I can save American Marketing Association. I have a direct message. Now, not all these people are going to be on LinkedIn all the time.
Right.
But this will give me more than one doorway into a company. And that's what I mean by sales intelligence. It lets you track who's who in a company or an association or an organization that you want to speak at. Or let's say you've been contacted by one person in the organization and you want to learn more about the organization because you're about to have a sales meeting. So sales intelligence is important when you're selling to larger organizations. SIG knows this, right?
I've done a little bit of it.
Yeah, just a
I
little
got to
bit.
get better as a speaker at doing it, but in the corporate world, I know it.
Okay. So I ran this speaker I showed you that changed her profile, Natalie.
Mhm.
When I ran her campaign, what I was doing was running a campaign. I did a targeted list. We did messaging to HR executives. And the message was read something like, and I'm not going to give you, I don't remember the exact message, something like, you may not be the right person. So being a Sandler trained person, I know how to use negatives. But can you point me in the right direction? Unfortunately, Natalie did not understand. I'm not going to go there, but Sales Navigator, if you're going to use LinkedIn for anything other than a outreach campaign, I think it's a waste.
Okay.
Yeah.
Credibility is nice. But one of the things, I mean, Steve brought it up at the end, thank goodness. But that was what I forgot to say, was the only reason to use LinkedIn and to bother with any of this is to get that first meeting. If you're not represented by an agent or an event planner, event planners get inundated. But what if an HR person said, hey, I talked to Amy, we got to have her. They're like recruiters. They're like box checkers.
Mhm.
They're checking a box. But SIG's going to talk to somebody that's got a problem in their team, an executive who's going to blame the other guy and invite SIG to speak because he's going to fix the other guy. And then SIG's going to speak, and afterwards he's going to have a relationship with the executive that brought him in and say, you know what? Maybe I should be coaching you. So there is an entire strategy, an entire funnel that goes with the speaking business, unless you're an A-list celebrity speaker. That's why I asked Jen how many speaking gigs she had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many, what's your business model? So I hope that helped a little bit, Sid. I think it's $100 a month and they give you 30 days free. But if you're going to do a campaign, then it's the only way that's going to work. Random connections. Now you can use the box in the search engine for random connections, but if you're going to do an outbound campaign, and I wouldn't do an outbound campaign until your profile is optimized. That's my bias.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for
You're
everything
very
today.
welcome.
This was
You're
great.
very welcome. Thank you. Was it great? I wasn't sure the smoke alarm went off at 7 a.m.
It was great. Highly
Honored.
informational and a lot of tidbits to work on now.
Pardon
And look
me?
at. Yes, and research.
Yeah, it's a long journey.
All
So
right.
please connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's stay in touch, and I'll see you at the next meeting.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Have a
All
great
right,
week.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you later.